It is the Riot podcast during the fundraiser. I want to say...
Oh, guys, wait, can we say yes, a thank you to all of the wonderful podcast listeners who've been supporting during our fundraiser?
Not all of you have said, hey, I'm a podcast listener, but there's been quite a few of you.
So many, and it's been nice to see.
I want to say what's up to Jennifer. She gave yesterday morning, or I guess... So whatever day it was, she gave, and she's from...
Michigan?
No, Medway, Ohio.
Oh, great.
Okay, I want to say, you're thinking about Abby. Abby she gave big, and she is from Troy, Michigan, so thank you. Want to say thanks to David. He is also a podcast listener. Randall, let's see, Edward is also a podcast listener.
We were joking with our boss, Michael, who's in during the fundraiser with us. We're like, see, the podcast is worth it. All you guys are really helping to support because the podcast is different. You know, like RadioU, we have to have RadioU funded because the Riot is the morning show on RadioU. You might just listen to us on the podcast, so you're only getting a section of what we do each day, but you have to have RadioU in order to have the podcast. The podcast, though, the more that you guys listen, which is fantastic,
right,
the more money it costs
us some more.
For the podcast. So to help with those, for you guys to donate, it's been wonderful to see.
Yeah, so seriously, guys, if you're supporting RadioU this week, please stop by and give at radiou.com/donate and include the fact, like, hey, I listen to the podcast because we would love to hear that from you. It's always great to hear that. And today in the podcast stuff, we talk about the Apple press conference. Can't avoid it.
Don't want to ignore it.
Just want to go ahead and get that out there. We also talk about some stuff going on with Pokemon Go, Fortnite Monopoly, and there's something else.
Well, you'll find out.
You'll find out what it is. So you guys enjoy. Thank you again so much for listening, supporting, and being a part of what we do.
Have a good day.
Bye.
The Worst of the Riot box set is now available nowhere because we know you wouldn't want it anyway. It's the Worst of the Riot on RadioU.
Here, Nikki.
We promised we'd talk about the iPhone.
Since you got cash to burn, here's a couple of dollars for you to wipe your eyes with.
Well, I promise that no matter what happens, I've donated to RadioU first. So as we talk about these large amounts of money, I would like something, but man, it's expensive.
Wow.
And I'm not sure I like it always makes me think what it was DDR Max. So every time they say Max, I say it in the DDR Max. Like I say,
too.
Yeah, it always comes up in my head like that.
Mm-hmm. Well, let's just go ahead and jump right to it. Yesterday, Apple made their announcements. The big ones were they unveiled 3 new iPhones.
Is there anything else before we talk about the iPhones that we cared about from the conference?
The only thing I cared about was the fact that they also unveiled that on Monday, Apple TV gets iOS 12.
Okay, so that basically outside of that, it was really just the phones.
Yeah, it really was. So they introduced 3 new phones. The iPhone... I'm going to call them the XR, the XS, and the XS Max. Now, they want you to call the 10R, the 10S, and the 10S Max.
That's what they would like you to call it.
The iPhone XS Max sounds just right to me, and it also sounds like it came out in 2002 because it's the Max.
DDR Max.
So, Nikki, if you went with a 64-gig iPhone XS Max,
yes,
$1,099.
That's what I heard. And then if you want is it the 512? Gig, it's 14 something. Like that's the most.
That is insane.
There's no other thing to say with it, but yes, that's insane.
A $1,500 phone. What else is amazing is that they are charging you $100 for what is literally 10 cents of storage. That is the absolute cheapest thing.
You're not supposed to think about that.
That is the cheapest thing in the whole phone.
But they're making it so expensive.
All the stuff that's in that phone, that is the cheapest thing. And they are charging you an extra $100 for every time you jump. It's crazy.
And when I saw the pricing too, normally I'm like, well, I'm willing to risk and roll the dice with do I need to pay for the extra protection plan? But for this, I feel like you got to add that on there because it's so expensive. But then it's expensive to even protect it.
It's crazy.
So it's a lot.
It's like one of those things where you buy a really nice car, but then you can't afford to insure it.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
Same thing.
It's just, it's too much.
I will say when you look at it, that XR, you can get that for, if you do a 64 gig model, for $750. That is a very nice phone.
That's better.
Yeah.
But it's no Max.
The 10S and the 10S Max.
Even though I like the size of the other one.
Yeah, it's a 6.2 inch. The 10S Max is a 6.5 inch. And you know what? I mean, let's be clear. They are insane phones. They
the specs
really
on
have.
it are crazy.
They are. It's like carrying a MacBook in your wallet.
That's exactly what you said, and it was perfect. That's exactly how you explain it. You're buying like a desktop and a laptop all rolled into your phone. It is going to have that price to it.
Too rich for me. Hey, look here. $239.
Yes, on your current one.
The Android Motorola.
The worst of the riot. It's like Lucky Charms, but no marshmallows. Radio U.
You know, Nikki, when it comes to Christmas, the Riot is experts.
We are.
As far as we're concerned, it's practically Christmas.
We will always say that.
Well, I want to let you know that this year Amazon's going to do a little something different. They're going to let you buy a real Christmas tree through Amazon Prime.
So are they going to work with local Christmas tree farms, or what do you think?
I don't think so. I mean, maybe.
Well, how else would they ship it?
It says here that you will get your tree within 10 days of it being cut down. The trees will include varieties like Douglas fir, Norfolk Island pine, and Fraser fir. And they will be a full-size 7-foot tall Christmas tree. And it says
they just can't go from far, because if they came from afar, in shipping, they would just be destroyed. Unless they put them in a box. Maybe they put them in a box.
They got to put them in something, right?
I'm sure they put them in a box.
I actually don't have details on where they will come from, whether they'll come from one particular place or if it'll be local.
Talk about, is it a coup? What Christmas tree farm got that deal? Because that's amazing.
For real,
yeah,
right?
They scored big time. I've gotten a small Christmas tree in the mail. It was a gift.
But was it a live Christmas tree?
Yeah, it was a live one.
Really?
But it was just a small little decorative sort of, here's a gift for you for Christmas.
That feels like a business gift.
It was a grandma type of gift.
Oh, okay, sure. All right.
Along with fruitcake.
Who the heck wants a fruitcake?
I know, but older people still think that's a thing. So they still do that sort of stuff.
They still send it. All right.
They still do.
I mean, it is a very, I don't know, cliche old school Christmas, so
that's how it goes.
Have some fruitcake, I guess.
I still want to get a real full-size Christmas tree, one time in life.
Okay.
But I've never done it, and I just got an amazingly tall Christmas tree last year.
You just bought a brand new tree, didn't you?
Dude, that thing is nice. That is nice. It's got a remote control and everything, so I'm good for a while.
I don't know. I've had the same tree for a while.
Yeah. You have a lot of trees.
I do, actually. I have bought, let's see, I've got 4
trees?
4 trees,
That's
I think.
a good amount.
1, 2. I think that's right. So I think I spent a lot of time in my basement, so I'm going to put one down there. I've got the living room one, and then I'll have a bedroom one.
And then a small decorator one.
Just wherever.
Just to enhance the room.
Just put it out there somewhere.
Well, if you're looking for a live one, even though I think some people like the experience of going to the Christmas tree farm, so I don't know how many people will just choose convenience over that.
It seems to me that that's all part of the experience, going to the farm, all of that. I went to a Christmas tree farm a couple years ago and did the whole, they
you chop it down?
They give you a sled and a saw, and you go out there and literally cut it out of the ground. That was more than I wanted to do.
But so since you know that, since you've already had that experience once, but you still want a tree, would you then go and buy it from Amazon?
I just get a fake one.
Well, okay.
I just don't.
But if you still wanted a live tree, you've done the whole thing. Maybe that will be that sort of clientele.
Maybe that's what they're hoping. So I'm sure that there is a market for this, or Amazon wouldn't be doing it. But personally, I'm just I bought a tree one time. I keep putting it up.
It's still good. It's fine.
And despite what Charlie Brown will tell you, there's plenty of Christmas spirit around the tree.
Well, maybe text us or message us, 877-2-RADIO-U, or if you go to our Radio U Riot Facebook page, just message us there and follow us and tell us, would you buy a Christmas tree from Amazon, a live one?
I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll actually put a link to this on the Riot page right now. You can look at it. You can tell us.
I'll put one of our old Christmas pictures up. If we can find, I've added work. I've made more work.
Well, I was just going to put this article, and now you're asking me for an old Christmas picture.
A little personal Christmas touch.
Okay, I'll go look for it.
So that's a Radio U Riot on Facebook. Join us there.
That feeling when you hear that every school in the state is closed, but yours? Now you know how we feel. It's the worst of the riot on Radio U.
How many versions of Monopoly do you have at home right now?
I still have, ironically, a Rudolph one, and I think a normal Monopoly, and maybe one other, but I don't know what it is.
I've got one.
Simpsons, maybe?
Yeah, probably.
Or the credit card one?
I have one standard Monopoly and 4 specialty Monopolies at home.
We have enough.
And
how often do we play Monopoly?
Just to be clean, yeah, I was just going to say, it has been more than a year.
Yeah.
For sure,
and I think I have the EA one, too. Like the iOS game, Monopoly.
Oh, yeah.
I have that one.
I was like, wait, like EA board game Monopoly?
Yeah, no, I have theirs.
Okay, no, I've definitely done that, where you've got the app for it. Well, Monopoly thinks that you need another Monopoly. Like, you just don't have enough Monopolies. So their new Collector's Edition Monopoly that's coming very soon, I don't think it's out yet, but soon, Fortnite. They're
jumping on that one.
Monopoly.
Not surprised.
So they say Tilted Towers will be their new boardwalk this time around, and all of the I can't actually zoom in on the board, but you'll be able to change out everything. And instead of a chance card, you'll get a storm card.
That's clever.
That will come in. So
you know what I was thinking the other day? Our last Riot Facebook live event that we did a board night game where we played Ticket to Ride.
Uh-huh.
So I was thinking, we should probably pick another game to play. And we normally do a live event with Halloween, and we can dress up. So maybe we should be thinking about another board game we can play.
We could do that.
We could do Monopoly.
I'll tell you what we should actually do.
What should we do?
We should play Fortnite.
We should play Oh my gosh. You know, when you have ideas, you do. You do. And we could dress up as characters from Fortnite.
No, that's too much. That's too much work.
That's where you draw the line?
Yeah, no, I'm serious. Like that's going to be like, hey, I have to go buy Fortnite themed clothes.
Have you seen something?
Have you seen the costumes?
Yeah, they're ridiculous.
No, like they're too whacked out. Like I don't have the budget to handle a real life Fortnite cosplay.
But if we play that, then we could dress up as something else.
Yeah, I mean, we could. Sure.
Okay. All right. We'll be thinking about for upcoming Riot live events, which if you miss any, they're always posted at RadioU Riot on our Facebook page. Just go back in the videos, and then RadioU Riot on YouTube. You'll see the playlist for them.
Then we have to worry about, like, can we both play on the same console? Like, there's a lot to consider about that.
Logistics to it, but we can work on it. We got time.
That might not work. If not, there are other things that we can do.
That is a good idea. Everybody still plays it.
Yeah, they do.
Yes, they do.
You're listening to The Riot. Voted #1 morning show. Among toddlers aged 2 to 5. Among people with hearing problems. Among dogs who bark at loud noises. Among relatives of Obadiah. Among people who lie in surveys. The Riot, Radio U.
If you felt like over the summer you saw a real resurgence in people playing Pokemon Go, you're right. You did.
I thought you said they had an update and that led to some people re-picking it back up again.
They say that their user numbers went up 35% this summer, and that they now have the highest number of users they've had since May of 2016.
Well, that was the heyday.
That's when things got out of control.
Do you remember you used to see people walking outside? It was like, what are they
doing?
doing? You knew what they were doing. I don't see that anymore.
No, I don't either.
You just don't notice if someone's walking around playing Pokemon.
I've seen it. In fact, in the last week, I've seen 3 people playing Pokemon Go out in public.
Same person, though?
No, not the same person. And the other interesting thing is it has a lot to do with where you live, because I was listening to a podcast where a guy, he's been going, like, he goes to a park and whatever, and he said that there are whole guilds of people that show up.
Oh,
and
yes.
Like, he said, he literally came to the park. There was 100 people there.
And sometimes you're out running, so you might see them more.
And he said they were all there for finding rare Pokemon and all this stuff. Wow.
So it's there. If you were embarrassed to pick it back up again, but you liked it, then you wouldn't be the only one still doing it.
See, in concept, I love the idea. I love the idea of playing a game where you could do something in the real world other than spending money or putting a toy on top of a portal. But like going out with your phone to a place and kind of doing something with the game or whatever. But
I had a hard time with Pokemon because I didn't grow up playing Pokemon, so I didn't have this attachment to it. And so if there was something else that I had that I was that familiar with, then maybe. But I kind of just want it to be something new, not something from your childhood.
Yeah, I mean, they didn't really hook me with Pokemon. I tried it because everybody did. Like,
everybody was doing it.
I was out there giving it a shot. And, if everybody's doing it, I want to be doing it too.
We apparently would do that. For one day.
I feel great about that. But yeah, there hasn't been something like that that's hooked me. There's been a few different games that have tried. There was it's not red versus blue, but there was some kind of game like that where you chose a side and it was all about like running out to locations, claiming locations. It was a really interesting idea, but it just
didn't pick up.
Hasn't been quite enough. And it may just come down to I like games a lot better when I'm laying on my couch sideways with a controller kind of falling asleep.
Yes.
That could be part of the problem.
We agree with that.
So I don't know, but I'll tell you this, the Pokemon thing, it is
it's
back.
Real.
The Riot.
They hate me, they hate you, they hate us.
Why else would they make us listen to the worst of the Riot? Radio U.
Now, wind the clock back 2 weeks ago, I think it was. Remember when we were talking about Nikki's potentially perfect job as a woman working at a cat sanctuary?
Sanctuary.
In Italy?
Oh, yeah. The one where it was an
island. It was an island, a cat
Yeah.
island?
That one where they had, you would live on the island, basically take care of the house. I think it was only the cats on the island, though.
Yeah, it was just you and the cat.
And the house.
The Isle of Syros. And the name of the sanctuary, which I don't think that we had before, is called God's Little People Cat Rescue.
So for the rescue center, the lady who's been running it just doesn't want to do that. Living there day to day, you're isolated and stuff. So they were actually trying to find somebody who would take over that part.
So get a load of this. So she puts out the advertisement, and it got picked up by everybody.
It went viral, yeah.
Yeah. She's had, as of now, 35,000 applications.
Not surprised. What a mess, though.
35,000. Yeah, I mean, that's one of those things you'd almost be like, all right, we got to throw all these away, start over, and just start finding people we know.
Because if not, you're like, oh, that's great. You have so many people to choose from. Wrong.
No,
you got people
worst.
that are an impulse just saying, I'll live on this Greek island with these cats. When really, if they then try to contact you, if you might work for the position, then you say, oh, I wasn't really serious. So that's a lot of mess.
Oh, yeah. They want to make sure, like, she's looking for someone that actually cares about the cats, not somebody that's like, I can get paid to live on an island. Sweet.
Sure, I'll do that.
And roughly 34,000 of those applications are that.
Yeah, just too much.
That's
what
tough.
a mess. And she was really just trying to find somebody.
You know, it sounds nice, though. She was Joan, who is the lady that is running it now. She and her husband are moving to the United States, and they need someone to take over. And that's what she is now.
It's a legitimate thing, but, hard to find someone who will take over.
They ended up having to remove the advertisement, and they're, I guess, currently not taking applications.
Well, they don't need any more.
So they were trying to raise, this is something I didn't know, is that they were trying to raise money to pay someone to live there, as I understand it. And that's something, everyone's in favor of getting paid, but nobody is willing to give money to fund this particular
Is that a little
endeavor.
Fundraiser, little behind the scenes thing right there, guys?
They're trying to raise $200,000 and they've raised $2,000.
Oh, but with all those people who tried to get the job, I'm surprised they didn't get more.
Really? People that say they're really, really behind something, and then when it's time to give a little bit of money
disappear.
towards it, all of a sudden they're like, yeah, I'll be back.
We know that. We understand that.
What? I've never heard of anything like that. Where could you give me another example?
This was the worst of the Riot, and we'd like to congratulate you on having the stomach to stick around to the very end. The Riot exists because Radio U exists, and Radio U only exists because of your support. Find out more and give now at RadioU.com/donate.